Right.
Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel and welcome back to MongoDB introduction and performance testing. So this is Pawan from MGM IT training. So here is my WhatsApp number 9059219399 and this is our email Gmail ID. Welcome back one more time. All right. So hope you have seen my last session on MongoDB introduction. So let me quickly show you that. So yeah, this is my YouTube channel, guys. Those who reached this video directly, those who got this video directly. So in case if you want to subscribe to my YouTube channel, so just Google search for performance testing live training. Let me show you. So once you go to YouTube, so search for performance testing live training. And here is my YouTube channel, guys. Okay. And last week, on the last weekend, I have made one session on this MongoDB introduction. This is session 1 of 5, right? So some people, were confused saying that, performance testing is not covered in that session. But I clearly mentioned, guys, I gave the title as session 1 of 5. Here you can see session 1 of 5. That means I'm going to make up to 5 sessions on MongoDB performance testing. And this is the first session. And by the way, thanks everyone to those who encouraged, like by clicking like to my previous introduction session. So out of 274 views that I got till now, I had 27 likes, which is a very good number. 10% of the likes, more than 10% of the likes, are around 10% of the likes, 10% likes of the views. Total number of views is a good number. And this video has become the first, uh, stood in the first rank in my videos in terms of total number of views. Total number of views. All right. Now going back to the session, going back to the concepts. So to avoid to clear that confusion, I have rephrased this slide. So session 1 was on what is MongoDB and getting started with MongoDB. And session in this session 2, I am going to cover what is MongoDB Compass, how to use that MongoDB Compass and MongoDB UI as well as shell, right? Which I'm going to show you soon. And what are the few basic commands that you use with MongoDB? Clear this. And this is the agenda for today's session. In the next session, I am going to cover MongoDB collections, MongoDB admin commands. And in the fourth session, I am going to explain MongoDB replication concept, which is some important concept, and relational database performance testing with JDBC request sampler. And you remember, like MongoDB is a non-relational database. However, why I kept here is I just want to compare this, relational database performance testing versus non-relational with the JDBC request sampler versus this MongoDB performance testing with JSR 223 sampler. Right. So this would be the plan, the current plan at this would be the plan at the moment, right? And last session, I hope you watched the last session. If not, please go through the previous session because this current session, today's session will be continuation of the previous session. All right, guys. So this I already covered. Let me quickly recap. So MongoDB, what is MongoDB? It is a non-relational database, and it is a schemaless, right? It is schemaless. I missed this concept last, in the last session, so I added this. So MongoDB is a schemaless database. So we'll discuss what is a schema, what is not schemaless databases, in some other separate section, and it's an open source database, right? Anyone can download or anyone can contribute to that database also. So it's an open source database and cross platform, which I already explained. So you can use the database on Windows OS or Linux or Mac OS or any other operating system. And MongoDB stores unstructured data. So the main purpose of this non-relational database or this MongoDB is to store unstructured data like documents, etc. Right? Data will be stored in JSON-like format. Whereas if you want to store some documents like PDF or spreadsheets, etc., you can store as it is. And it supports full index. It has a full indexing support, and it is faster and more scalable than other NoSQL databases. So guys, please share your feedback in the form of comment section. Okay, so that will encourage us to make more and more videos. And we will plan live sessions on this rather than recorded sessions. Like I can give you a free training or a free demo sessions, live sessions. Yes. Please share your feedback in the form of comments over here. And if you want to cover something, I will try to cover. I cannot promise what timeline or stringent deadlines in my office work. I'll try to cover as many concepts as possible. So please do share your feedback in the form of comment section, and please continue supporting us. So yeah, now going back, and please check the description part of every video. You can see like this is the description part of each of my video, right? So this. There are a couple of playlist URLs over here. Performance testing with load on the geometry placement with DIN address. June 2023 batch playlist URL. This is June 2023 batch playlist URL, and you have all the demo sessions for this batch, for the current batch. Clear this. Now going back to MongoDB concept. Okay. Now, so we are already done with this downloading and installing MongoDB, and I have shown you the MongoDB Compass UI. The MongoDB shell I am going to cover it today, right? And yeah, so let's go. Let's get started. Let's make our hands dirty by starting practice on MongoDB Compass and MongoDB shell. Clear this. Now, once if you remember, like when you are installing MongoDB, right? So you get a MongoDB Compass by default. You will have a by default, you remember like, so you have an option to, by default, MongoDB Compass will be selected in the installation window. And once the MongoDB installation is completed, you will get a desktop icon like this automatically, right? So those who missed that previous video, please go through it, which is available in the playlist URL. Let me show that before we start the actual session. So for every video, like I provide, playlist URL of that, session. Hold on, guys. Please give me a moment. And also please encourage by sharing your feedback in the form of comment section, so that we can give some live training on Unix Linux commands. So we already have the content ready. There is a lot of content. So we can give free training or free sessions on this. Live sessions on Unix and Linux commands required for performance testing units, Apache Kafka, Docker and Kubernetes, and all these concepts. Azure Kubernetes services, AKS, right? And all these, not all these, however, we can give some live training on few of these concepts. Okay. Now, so yeah, regarding the playlist URL, so let me show you where is the playlist URL is. So each video has playlist URL. Let me show you that. So I'll share that playlist URL also in the description part of my video. Here it is, guys. So there is a separate playlist URL for this MongoDB, guys. Okay, this is the playlist URL for this MongoDB. Clear this. I'm going to add today's session also to this, and the remaining 3 sessions as well. Clear this. Now let's go back to the concepts. So what is MongoDB Compass? So MongoDB Compass is let me use Spotlight. Let me go to slideshow mode. So MongoDB Compass is a powerful GUI for querying, aggregating, and analyzing your MongoDB data in a visual environment, right? And it is free to use and source available, and it can be run on Mac OS, Windows, and Linux. Clear this. Now, what is MongoDB shell? So MongoDB Compass comes with an embedded shell called Mongo shell, right? So let me quickly show you that now. Let me go out of the slideshow mode. And let me start. MongoDB. Let me go to MongoDB Compass and let me show you where is that MongoDB shell is. Clear this. So here is your MongoDB Compass UI, right? So this is how it looks like by default. Now let me first try to start this. Create a new connection with MongoDB, right? Now, by default, you will have this URL. So you need not bother about this. You will have by default. By the way, please remember that, note that MongoDB is running on my current machine in this case, right? In the coming up sessions, I will try to show you how to connect to a MongoDB running on a remote machine. I'll try to cover that as well. So by default, however, once you launch MongoDB Compass, you will get this window called new connection, and you will have the connection string like this. MongoDB is the protocol over here, and this is your server name followed by port number on which MongoDB runs by default, right? This is the default port number of MongoDB. Please remember, particularly when you are keeping, when you keep this MongoDB in your CV, you can expect questions like this. So what is the default port number of MongoDB database? What are the basic commands? What commands you know in MongoDB? What are the basic MongoDB commands that you already used in your experience? Right? So you can expect these kind of questions. So please remember that this is localhost refers to my local machine. Right now, MongoDB, I have MongoDB database running on my local machine, running on this port number 27,017, right? 27017. Clear guys. Now 27, observe that I mentioned 27. I read it as 27017. It's actually zero only. So, but it is pronounced as, however, it is pronounced as O in IP, right? So it should be read as 27017, right? Now first, let me try to connect to this MongoDB database on my local machine. So you have two options here, two buttons here: save and connect and connect. First, let me click on connect and let me show you what happens. Right? Yes. Now you see here, it is displaying an error message, right? Error connect econ refused 127.0.0.1, right? What is this 127.0.0.1, guys? So this is the default IP address of your machine, of any machine. 127.0.0.1, that is the default IP address of, right, of your local host or your local machine. Here you can see it clearly, right? So what is localhost? It is a top level domain reserved for documentation and testing purposes. So, okay, let me show you some meaningful. Yeah, this is the default name of the computer you are working on, right? Localhost is the default name, and this is the default IP address of your computer that you are working on. Clear, guys? So these are computer basics. So which I cover in the very first 1 week of my performance testing training. Let me quickly show you that. Okay. So I cover that in Know Your Computer. There should be a slide called Know Your Computer, right? So we cover that in the what is IP address, what is local host or host name, and all these concepts in the very first 1 week of the training. Clear this. Now coming back to this MongoDB Compass. So this is the IP address of local machine, and this is the port number on which MongoDB runs by default, right? Now observe the error. And try to understand that error. What is it saying here? Connect the econ refused, right? And what is the reason for this? Let's understand what is the reason for this, right? If you remember last time, like I told you, last time I mentioned that when we are doing installation, I mentioned that MongoDB will be installed as a service, right? So, and I asked you to stop it, right? Stop the service. Otherwise, make the service manual, right? First thing is, make the service manual. So this is services window, right? And type letter M, and it will take you to it will show you all the services that start with letter M, right? Now observe here, the startup type is made as manual. I have made it manual, isn't it? See, the startup type of MongoDB server is manual. The reason is, if it is automatic, right? Every time you start your laptop or desktop, it will be running in the background, right? Which I don't want. So that's why, obviously when it is running in the background, it will be consuming a lot of CPU and memory cycles. Clear this. Even though you are not using that MongoDB, it will be consuming the CPU and memory cycles. That's why I made it manual. And that is the reason, And what is the status now? See here, it is not showing any status over here, isn't it? It is not displaying any status. Status is blank here. Let me show you something else. We can check the MongoDB's status in the task manager as well. And again, observe here, guys, I have MySQL database also installed on my machine, whose startup type is also manual and which is not running now. I'm not using my MySQL database currently. That's why, I made it manual. Now, let's see, how to check the status. Okay. For that, simply go to task manager and go to services tab and type letter M. Click somewhere, select any service and type letter M, and here you can see. You can see the status has stopped here, right? And how to start this MongoDB? Is it clear here? The status is stopped here, right? Please like the videos and turn on subscribe and turn on all notifications so that you will get these detailed demo sessions, free demo for free, right? And you do not miss any notifications on these free demo sessions. Okay. Now, how to start this? You can start how to start this MongoDB now. You can either start from Task Manager Services tab, or you can start from Services tab in the Windows directly, right? You can follow either of these. I am going ahead with this. Now, obviously, if you want to start from services, you simply click on the start service, start the service, right? And how to start it? Let me show you how to start it from here. Just right click and use the start button. Now it is starting now. You can see the status are starting now, and it is running now. There it is. And what is this PID? Observe here. Some number came up here for this MongoDB process, right? MongoDB, database. And PID stands for process ID. And this process ID changes. It is not a fixed value. By the way, this process ID is not a fixed value. It changes every time. For example, if you want, see, remember what is the process ID now? 18,736, isn't it? Now let me stop this and let me start again. Right? Now you see that, some other process ID got assigned to me, isn't it? Now, so anyways, now it is running. The status of MongoDB is running. Now let me go to MongoDB Compass. Now let's try to click on this connect. Right? Now you can see that, it is not displaying any error. And we are connected to our MongoDB running on this port number 27017. Clear, guys? We are now connected, and by default, there will be 3 databases in MongoDB database. Once you install MongoDB database, right? And let me show you which version are we in now. Which version of MongoDB are we using, right? So if you click on about MongoDB Compass, it should be 1.37. That should be the latest version of MongoDB, right? So let me confirm. So let me check latest MongoDB. Okay, sorry. So I think it's MongoDB 6 actually. But MongoDB Compass version is seems like MongoDB Compass version is 1.37. Okay. Anyways, so but however, so the MongoDB database that I'm using, that version is something different. Okay, that version is something different. It's okay. So I think I have mentioned somewhere in the previous slides. Hold on. Okay, I'll check it and add it to the details. Not so important at the moment. That's fine. Now let's move on to the next concept. Okay. Now once you launch this MongoDB Compass, right? See here, you can see here at the bottom you have something called Mongo Shell, right? Or some people pronounce it as Mongo. Just click on that, you'll get a command prompt kind of window like this. Clear this, and where you can execute any commands. Okay. If you want to understand what is the beauty of MongoDB Compass, let me first cover Mongo Shell, and then we will see the we will try to get the same functionality using MongoDB Compass UI, right? So now let me try to execute some MongoDB commands, basic commands. Okay. The first command that I'm going to show you is show databases, right? And now while you are entering some command, right, you can see some help file, or you can see some sample commands getting populated, right? So that is the beauty of MongoDB Compass is, right? Hope you liked it. Now just select that query or select that command and hit enter, right? Now see here. So what is the output of this command? Show databases command. It is showing that there are 3 databases with names as whose database names are admin, command, and local. That is what that's what exactly you are seeing over here, right? Under databases, you have 3 databases by default, right? And you can check that if someone is interested in running queries in the command prompt, or if you are working on some uh, terminal or a Linux terminal or Linux OS like Red Hat Enterprise Linux, which doesn't have any UI user interface, right? you can use these commands. However, if you are using Ubuntu Linux, you can install MongoDB and you will have a UI, proper UI like Windows, isn't it? So there you can use this MongoDB Compass. So that's the reason, however, if you have to work on some Red Hat Enterprise Linux or any other, Linux flavors which doesn't have an UI, remembering these commands will be useful. Clear this? Now this is the command to show the existing databases, right? And now if you want to switch to any database, right? So simply use this command, use followed by your database name. So now select, whatever database you want to select or you want to use, right? Now you can see that, it has switched to DB config. It has switched to a database called config. Clear this? Now, so this is how we can run some basic commands, Again, you have a wonderful help file over here, right? As you type the command, for example, if you want to create a database, right? Hold on. So I'll cover some commands, for creating collection, creating database, and so on. Right now we are in some database. We are into config database, right? So that's why it is not showing create database. Seems like. All right. So I'll show you some important commands, which can be helpful to create database, create collection, and all. Right. And now let me show you something called collection. Okay. Suppose when you type show, right, it is showing, different options with that, right? So, and there is one option called show collections, isn't it? So once I execute this command, right, it is showing some output, right? System.sessions. So that is the default collection in this database. In which database base? In config database, isn't it? Show collections command will show you all the collections in a database, in a particular database. Now, what is a collection? Let's understand what is a collection. So it's simple, guys. Collection is nothing but a table in a my relational database. Okay, let me show you, take you to the slide. And this is where I covered, right? A collection in MongoDB is similar to a table in RDBMS, where RDBMS stands for Relational Database Management System. Clear, guys? Collection is nothing but a table in a relational database. In MongoDB, in a non-relational database terminology, it's called as a collection, right? Hope it is clear, guys. And MongoDB collections do not enforce schemas. As we discussed, right, these are MongoDB schemaless. It doesn't enforce schema. And what does each collection contain in a MongoDB database? Each MongoDB collection can have multiple documents, right? I repeat one more time. Each collection can have multiple documents. If you remember, we already discussed in the introduction that we can store any unstructured data in MongoDB, or we can, right? So this is, we will be actually storing our data in the form of documents in MongoDB, in the form of in collections, something called collection. So collection is similar to a table. Here is, let me write it over here. Let me rephrase it, or let me, collection is equal to table in a database. Yeah. Right? Collection is nothing but a table. And now each MongoDB collection can have multiple documents. Now, what is a document? So document is equal to a row in a table in database, right? If you know RDBMS concepts, right? I hope most of you know the RDBMS concepts, relational database management concepts. If not, or if you are interested, anyone is interested in learning relational database concepts or database concepts, right? Please go through w3schools.com. Please go through this website, w3schools. Okay. SQL, just type SQL tutorials. And please go through these tutorials. We have wonderful tutorials. You need not join any paid training for this. These are interactive tutorials. These are interactive tutorials. This will be something like your live training only. Clear, guys? And you can practice any SQL queries like this. Go through the introduction, syntax, what is select query, what is where class, and all these concepts. And you can try it yourself over here. If you click on run SQL, this command is executed, and this is the output of the above command, right? So please go through these W3 schools tutorials if you are not, if you are not having any prior knowledge on database concepts and SQL queries. Now, coming back to this, So here, a table consists of rows, right? Rows are records, as you can see here. This particular customers table over here is having 91 records currently, right? So in relational database, data will be stored in the form of rows. Whereas in non-relational database like MongoDB, the data will be stored in the form of documents, and document is equal to a row in a table. Clear, guys? I hope it is clear. Now I'll move on to the next slide, right? So these are the important terms or terminology in MongoDB: collections and table documents. Clear, guys? Right. Now, what are the simple basic commands or basic queries that that we use in MongoDB? I think I have shown you. Okay. So this is show databases, by the way. So DBS means show databases. You can either type this in full form like this, or else you can simply type show DBS, which is nothing, which will get you all the databases. Okay, like this, right? So DBS is a short form of databases. Clear, guys? Now, how to create our own database, right? So let me show you how to create our own database and what is DB command. Okay, let me execute that as well. So suppose if you want to check what is the current database that you are in, right? What is the, which database are you currently using? So, right? So here you, of course, here you can clearly see that, the database name is config here. But if at any point of time, if you are, let me exit from here. Okay. Exit or quit commands are not supported for current, platform Compass. Okay, that's right. So let me type db and see. Okay. So this db command will get you what is the database name. What is the current database name like this? It will display the current database name like this, right? And use database. This I already covered. So guys, this is a placeholder, by the way. What is meant by a placeholder? Instead of this placeholder, you are supposed to give the database name. That is what this angle bracket means. Angle brackets are used to denote placeholders, right? I'll give some example here to make it simple. Okay. For example, if you use config, it will switch to config database. That's what it means. When you are giving them, when you are specifying the actual database name, please don't give the angle brackets. Skip the angle brackets. So angle brackets are used here as placeholders where your database name should go or your table name should go, right? Now, the next basic command that we use is show collections. Now, let me show that. Let me try that. Okay. Right now we are in config database. Let me try this show collections. I think I already tried this one also, right? So there is only one collection in this database, config database, and the collection name is sessions, right? System.sessions are sessions. Clear is. Now, what is the next comment? And how to create a collection. So now let's see how to create a collection. Okay. So you can either run a command for this, create my collection. Let me try this, guys. Okay, so it's not supporting. Okay, it could not be cloned. That's fine. Okay, now let me show you some simple way. So let's go to the observe here. If you want to create a database, you can either use commands like this, if you are comfortable, or if you remember the commands. If you don't remember the commands, not an issue. You can use MongoDB Compass. As simple as that, right? If you want to create a database, click on this plus button next to databases. Give the database name over here, right? My database, my sample database, something like this. Okay. Or else I will say this as my demo database, demo DB. Okay. Let me give some collection, demo collection. Now observe here, create database connection, create database button is enabled now. So if you don't specify the collection name, you can see that it is getting grayed out. That means if you want to create a database, you should give some one collection name also, right? So let me give that demo collection. Okay. Now click on create database. Now here you can see a demo database is created under which one demo collection is also created. Clear is. This is how you can create a database, new database. Now, in an existing database, suppose if you want to add a collection, see, for example, this is my demo database. I'm going to use this. Suppose in this existing database, I want to create a collection. Simply click on this plus button to create a collection and simply give the collection name. Okay, demo collection. I'll name it as demo collection 2. Okay. You can give some number, to make it unique, or any number you can do, to make it unique, and click on create collection. Create collection. Now you can see that one more collection got created. There is now. So these are basic commands to create a database or to create a collection and to insert a document. Now let's see how to insert a document, guys. Let me minimize this Mongo shell. And now let's say I want to insert some document into this database. Here you have it, like MongoDB Compass. The beauty of MongoDB Compass is, so it will have, a proper UI and you will have all the options available. However, if anyone is interested in queries, if you want to try some queries, yes, it also provides that option, which is nothing but your MongoDB shell, right? If you are comfortable, if you remember the commands, you can try those commands over here. If not, you have a wonderful UI for creating database, for creating a collection, for inserting document, etc., etc. Now, how to insert a document? Observe here. Once I click on add data, you have an option to insert document or import JSON or CSV file, right? First, let me use this insert document. Okay. Now, you also have a sample data here in the document, right? Wonderful, right? You are having some sample data over here. Simply click on insert, right? Now you can see that, one record or one row of data got inserted into this collection called demo collection. Clear, guys? And it has assigned one ID for that. Okay. And it has assigned one ID, object ID for that, and this is the object ID. Now, if you want to edit the document, yes, you can do like this. You can click on edit and you can do that. Clear, guys? And if you want to create one more document or one more, record to the database, again, you can use this and, you can update the, data as well. Whatever you want to see, paste one or more documents over here. You can insert the documents over here. Clear, guys? This is the UI utility provided to insert documents into the database. Clear, guys? So I'll stop it here for today. So these are the important basic commands for MongoDB, right? In the next session, I'm going to cover like in detail. We are going to focus only on, the commands, inserting document, querying a document, how to get a query, right? So basically, I'm going to cover CRUD operations. Again, what is CRUD operations? CRUD, another important, very important interview question, guys. What is CRUD operations? So CRUD stands for create, read, update, delete. Clear, guys? So that is nothing but, it is an aggregation of these: create, read, write, update, and delete. Clear, guys? So CRUD stands for create, read, update, delete. And in the next session, I'm going to cover how to create or insert a document, how to query a document, to fetch the document, how to retrieve a document, and how to update a document, and how to delete a document. So that would be the agenda for the next session. And I'm still preparing the content, guys. So I'm adding more and more concepts into this. So we are done with this general commands. So in the next session, we will see what is a collection in detail. What are the MongoDB admin commands? What are the commands useful for creating collection, inserting document, and retrieving a document, updating a document, or delete a document from MongoDB Compass. So you'll see all those CRUD operations. Let me update it over here. I'm getting very limited time because of my time constraints, guys. So still, like I'm pulling some time out of my weekend and I'm making these sessions. So please, share your feedback in the form of comments in each video, uh, and click like button to encourage to make, live training on this rather than recorded sessions. I'm more interested to give live training. So the more likes I get or the more comments that I get in the video, so that will encourage us to make give live training on these simple concepts like MongoDB, etc. You need not join any paid training for this. These are simple concepts to learn. If someone cannot wait for the next week, so if you want to learn these concepts, I'll show you one. I will show you some wonderful websites for learning this MongoDB. Search for MongoDB, go to the MongoDB website itself, right? You will have a lot of tutorials over here. If someone want to learn, if you cannot wait till next week, so you have a lot of, tutorials, self-learning tutorials over here. If you are good in self-learning, go through this. Otherwise, please wait for my next video, which will be, more interactive and more, simplified. We follow a proper structure basically. So, and make learning, simplified and easy to understand and easy to follow. Clear, guys? Now, once you are done with the, any of your practice or queries, right? So go to services and, suppose if you want to stop the MongoDB database, go to services, or else you can go to the task manager, right? You can go to services or either here from a task manager or Windows services. This is Windows services, guys. How do I get that? Let me show you one more time. Go to your Windows search box and you can type here services. Okay. Services and launch services app and type letter M to see all the services that start with letter M. All right. And where is our MongoDB, guys? Here it is. Right. And let me stop the service. As I'm done with the demonstration, I'm stopping the service. Otherwise, it will be running in the background and it will be consuming CPU and memory cycles, guys. Clear, guys? So there is no point in running, when we are not using that. So I'm just, stopping the service. Right now, you can see that, the status is not running now. Clear, guys? Or you can check it from the task manager as well. I think task manager services tab is more, having more options over here. You can see the status has stopped. Clear, guys? All right, then. So thanks for watching and have a nice day. So one more time, so please share your feedback and share this sessions. But yeah, one more important thing is, so the next concept that I am going to, the next free training that I am going to give is on Apache Kafka. Okay, Apache Kafka and Splunk as well. Okay, so this is the next series, next free training series that I am going to start with on Apache Kafka and Confluent Cloud. Right. So the content is ready. So stay tuned and stay tuned to my YouTube channel and make sure that you turn on all notifications so that you will get updates on the free demo sessions and interview questions, etc. etc. Right? Thanks for watching and have a nice day. Don't forget to share this to your near and dear guests. Signing off. This is Pawan signing off for the moment. Thanks for watching and have a nice day.